Thanks for joining us again, going through our little devotional series through the rest of the book of Proverbs. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if any of you guys are history buffs or like Shakespeare, you probably know the story of the demise of Julius Caesar. But in case you don't, I'm going to summarize it a little bit for you. So on March 15th of 44 BC, Julius Caesar was ambushed during a Senate meeting by a group of Roman senators who stabbed him 23 times in the back, and he died, basically marking the end of the Roman Republic. So among those men that killed Julius Caesar was a man named Marcus Junius Brutus, hence Brutus, why we're here. So he was rumored to be a friend, or at least in Shakespeare's play, he was rumored to be a friend of Julius Caesar. And probably the most well-known line from that play is "Et tu, Brute?" or "You too, Brutus?" This line basically alludes to the how Julius Caesar was surprised that his own friend Brutus would take part in his murder. So this historical anecdote has a reason, but let me kind of get to that point. I'm going to read to you the verse that we're going to be in today in chapter 24. It's going to be verses 5 and 6. It says, "The wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength. Surely you need guidance to wage war, and victory is won through many advisors." All right, so there are two main points that this passage is talking about. And the first one, in verse 5, it talks about how it's an advantage for one person to be wise than it is for a person to be strong. And then the second thing it talks about is the importance of good counsel or godly friends. So we're going to talk about the latter first. You can ask Julius Caesar, it's important to have good friends that aren't going to stab you in the back, whether that be literally or figuratively. But again, this is not the only time that Proverbs talks about the importance of godly friendship. In Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24, it says, "A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." In Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, it says, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." In Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." And Solomon, this isn't the only time that Solomon wrote about this. He also wrote about friendship in the book of Ecclesiastes. "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up, but pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up." I could keep reading verses in the Bible that speak of the importance of friendship, but I don't want to keep you all day. So I just want to let you know, God intends for us to get through life with community. We are stronger when we are together. God intends for us to seek the counsel of wise friends. He intends for us to share our burdens with each other. As Andy mentioned yesterday, in James, it says to confess our sins to one another and pray so that we may be saved. As Solomon so often states, it's God's intention for us to live in godly community. So secondly, in verse 5, it says again, "The wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength." So if you think of wisdom as a muscle, would you consider yourself strong? Do you spend as much time training your wisdom muscle as you do your physical muscles? Think about that. And Solomon makes it very clear here that wisdom is a far greater attribute than strength is. And the ironic thing is that great strength comes from great wisdom. So if you guys know me, I'm a big sports fan, and if you're not, excuse me for this, but I'm going to use a sports metaphor. So if you were a football coach, which middle linebacker would you rather have? Would you rather have a middle linebacker that is wise, that knows what to do, and is a good leader? Or would you rather have a middle linebacker that is maybe stronger, but can't tell the difference between a football and his big toe? Obviously, you want the first one, right? It pays to be wise. And how do you train to be wiser? In the first chapter of Proverbs in verse 7, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of all knowledge." So that's the first step. You get to know the Lord. You get to know Jesus better. You draw closer to Him, and you're going to notice the difference between your wisdom now and your wisdom when you get closer. Then the second thing that you can do is you can surround yourself with godly counsel. Again, it's important for us to surround ourselves with people that God would want us to be with. And wrapping this up, I hope this video gives you some things to think about. I hope that this encourages you a little bit to kind of reevaluate what your friendships might be, or maybe you're not training your wisdom muscle as much as you should. So I hope this encourages you to think about that a little bit more. And a little plug: keep washing your hands, stay safe. We'll see you next time.